Good afternoon and welcome to the PM show with me and Matt with you for the next half hour, 2 hours, days, weeks, whatever it takes to get you the latest information that's all going along on the kits, releases, tools, paints, sundries, all the bits and things like that. So how are we doing, Matt? How's it going?
I'm all right, thank you. Very well. Yes, yourself?
Yes, getting washed away. We were complaining about the heat last week and having to come in earlier. Yeah. I think I need a boat. So
biblical, is it?
It is biblical weather we've had down in here, and now we've got Hurricane Ellen apparently arriving on the shores later on tonight. So never a dull moment. You know what it's like down in here. Anyway, yes. So how's things up there? How's sales? How's business?
It's good, yeah, steady. To be honest, it's gone steady. Obviously, we had the Spitfires in and the P51s, sort of bucket loads of them last week. So getting them done and out. This week's just been steady, just normal, back to normal, really. So we've got a few pre-orders hopefully coming in. We've definitely got one in by the end of the week, which is the Tamiya P38, the white boxing version.
Yes.
That should be, I think that'll be here tomorrow. Fingers crossed, we'll see. And also the Revell Tornado.
Cool.
The farewell scheme is due to land.
Yes.
Oh, look, and there's an Orbit Wildcat.
It is.
So yeah, they're the two main ones that are coming in that I know of very soon. I think the Meng DR1 again, hopefully by the end of the month we'll see with that one, but yeah, that'll be another one. And restocks wise, really, we've had an AK1, so we've got the Smoke and Starship Filter back in.
Oils, can't go wrong with the Abtai Long oils.
And the paint stencils that we did, where I got a few in as an example and they literally flew out the door. So those ones, yes. Those are back in stock as well. I mean, it's only a little AK order, to be honest. It was mainly for Starship Filter and Smoke.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're in. I've got some more Spitfires coming in as well.
Lovely.
Because they seem to be drying up rapidly now, and I think obviously once they've gone, they have gone. So yes. I've got some of them coming in, and a few other bits and bobs that are coming out of Germany, which will be in next week, which will be interesting. Unfortunately, no tools, still no scrapers and nippers and things here out of stock, but you know, like I say, as soon as they're back in, I'll put order in and we'll get them back in stock. So yeah, so like I say, it's been a bit quiet, quieter, shall we say.
I think really we were talking about it earlier on the week, weren't we? We were saying we're into that doldrums, which traditionally would have been a couple of months ago, because obviously without COVID and everything that's gone on in the summer, kit releases traditionally go a little bit quiet. Obviously companies are on company shutdown, on holiday, you know, and things. And in the summer, you know, obviously Northern Hemisphere, we're talking here, everything goes quiet, you know, generally from my point of view with Flory Model side as well, the hobby, the membership all go off and do summer activities, and it is traditionally quiet. So obviously kit releases tend to slow down, you know, new things be coming out, stuff like that. A lot of companies are working on sort of R&D stuff, research development, that type of thing as well during the summer, because obviously in the winter when the bad weather comes along and people are locked in their homes without COVID, traditionally that's when, you know, sales go up, things are happening, the show season is in full, you know, tilt and stuff like that. So, you know, it obviously makes things always a little bit sort of quiet, but we didn't have that. We've been going chaos because obviously a lot of people doing it, and now I think we're just getting into that quieter type of phase with it, where traditionally now we'd start to pick up a little bit. You get to end of August, September into October, before you know it, I call it silly season starts again. The evenings draw in, the weather goes a little bit colder, and then all of a sudden people sort of come and returning back to the hobby, and you get a big spike, you know, visits to the site go literally, you know, we call it the cliff in May, and then we get the other side of it literally in October, and then November comes along, and traditionally you've got Telford, which I think from a European point of view is the start of, you know, show seasons and the various things going along with it like that, and all of a sudden it's like crazy times again, and then with Christmas, the run up to Christmas and lots of Christmas presents and stuff. So I think a lot of the manufacturers release to this sort of ebb and flow, shall we say.
They do,
and again, everything's out the window this year with COVID and those types of things, and obviously with now regional lockdowns going on, and you know, obviously different countries doing different things, and technically if you want to go anywhere out of the side of the UK, if you come back you're going to get quarantine now for 14
Yeah.
days, so I think a lot of people are staying at home, keeping with the hobby, which is great. And as I say, I've had so many returnees to the hobbies who have actually come back and said to me that, you know, I can't believe how much it's moved along in 5 years, in 10 years. You know, they've come out of the hobby, and because of the lockdown and obviously staying at home and things like that, that they've started in the hobby. We've got new members coming into the site, stuff like that. And I suppose when you're here, day in day, nothing changes. It's a bit like watching your kids grow up. You don't notice it, and then you put up a photo of Lydia this morning, and I was like, my lord, she's just aged 10 years like that, you know. And it was like, you know, it was incredible really when you don't see them for a while how much they change. And it literally, it's one of those things, I think, with the hobby as well. If you step out of it for a little bit and then come back in, things have moved along. Classic example, shameless segue, but you know, this little guy I'm working on at the moment, which are the armor hobbies, for 70-second scale now, I think these are pretty much unmatched. You know, the level of detail, the quality that they go together, and for the price and everything else like that, it is amazing. This one is the Hurricane, is quite, I think, a normal type of kit. You know, shake and bake. You've got a cockpit detail and everything else. This thing, have you seen in this? It's amazing. If I've done this right, I'll edit the review into this. But have a look at the review. It's got a fully detailed engine, fully detailed actual wheel well gear system, fully detailed cockpit. Not that you're going to see any of this, because it's a bit like the cockpit in here. It's like, really? There's nothing to see. But, you know, that's the equivalent as well. In 70-second. You know, when I did the review of it, you'll see it. I quote that this is unbelievable, because you would think, looking at the instructions, this is a 48 scale, 30-second scale kit. To think that actually, no, this is actually a 70-second scale kit, and the level of detail into it, you know. And I have been saying, and whilst I've been building this one as well, these are now compulsory. These are mandatory, you know, forget your face mask and all stuff like that. It's these, because honestly, you know, like I was saying in the actual build part 1, you'll get that on Friday, is that, you know, a good set of optivisors or something else like that are not just like, you know, just it's good for detail. They're essential, because I know I'm approaching 50 now, but it is that thing where it takes the strain away, and everything's big and you can see exactly what you're doing. And on this scale of kit, you need it, because it's not like the old Airfix kits where it was like a seat, a floor pan, two halves come together, wings go in the side. You've got detail in there, and to see that detail, you need, you know, either a fantastic vision. Me, I'm lucky because obviously I've got the screens here as well, which are working magnified, so I can literally, I do this and I'm like, you know, a bit like a surgeon, you know, you get the old forceps for going inside. I'm literally doing this now because it's better than even the Optivisor when I'm zoomed in. But that's the thing, that's this level we're at now, how kits have literally moved forward, you know, amazingly well and fast over the last few years, which leads us into go on.
Our hobbies are really pushing the envelope with 70-second stuff. Like, I did have a sneaky peek, because we were on about obviously that last week when that came in, and the Hurricane and the restock of armour stuff. And I did have a quick look at the, I think it was other boxing, but I had and I think it just looks fantastic. I mean, I've built the Tamiya 48th one, which is a bit of an older kit, isn't it?
Yeah.
But still a nice kit. It still goes together really nice. But yeah, the level of detail on that thing is just unbelievable for the scale.
You know, again, it's actually, if you were to show somebody the instructions, I think, and if you just hand them instructions and you just took off that it didn't say 70-second on it, you'd never ever think it'd be 70. You get the full wiring loom in photo etch for the engine, and you get all the pulleys and control gear for the mechanism of the gear. That's all in there as well, and it's in photo etch, and it's like, it's 70-second. This shouldn't be. It should be two halves go together, and that's it. You know. Because I think honestly, the last time I did a 70-second Hurricane was I did loads of them. I think I've talked about this before. But when I did commission work, I did a lot of the Airfix Battle of Britain set. So you got a Lancaster, a Hurricane Spitfire. They're all awful. But it's literally how it used to pay the bills, shall we say. That was that kit. So I used to put them in flight on a mahogany plinth, a couple of brass rods coming up, and they would sit in there. So you'd have a Lancaster, and then obviously you'd have the Hurricane and the Spit on the side. And because that kit was quite cheap, and those are the days when I did them in enamels as well. But I built, I don't know, maybe 50 of those sets over the years. And that was the last time. And having this now, it's like, wow. Really is. Wow, it's quite something else on this one. It's only temped together at the moment, but it's a beautiful, beautiful little kit. It's very, very interesting to see how a company have literally come along and they've released that, as they're being their first ones out. I'm amazed, and I must admit, intrigued to see what they're going to do with the 48 scale one.
I think that is going to be nice, to be honest. If they're upscaling the 72nd one, I can't see them going wrong with that at all, to be honest. I think that is going to be stunning. I mean, to be honest, going back to the Airfix Hurricane in 72nd, obviously there's a newer one that they bought out a lot longer, which I've built. And actually that is not a bad kit. It's quite a nice kit. I don't think it's obviously detailed as that, but it's a bit cheaper. I think it's been re-released again because obviously the Battle of Britain anniversary and stuff like that. So I mean, it's nice. You've got a good choice, to be honest. You've got two good manufactured kits, really, with different price points, but you can take your pick, you know what I mean? So,
I think that really is, we often talk about 72nd scale is becoming more and more popular these days. But when you get a company come along like this, who are giving you, that AAA feel to your kit in that scale, it's incredible. It's very, very clever and very, very nicely done. But this, with the texture for the actual fabric, is absolutely spot on. And obviously with the metal on the wings and stuff like that and all the details, again, you're never going to see any of these tiny little details down in here or anything else like that, but they're in there. So it's a bit like you get the other version, you have the expert one, isn't it? And it comes with the photo etch for the instrument panel and all the rest of it. Not that you're going to see any of it, but it is very, very nice. Very, very nice. Very cool.
Yeah. We're liking all the hobbies, aren't we? I think they're very up and coming.
They could possibly be very shortlisted, as in probably 3 manufacturers for Manufacturer of the Year at this rate.
Yeah.
Obviously that Mac 2.
Definitely got to be there for best newcomer.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, absolutely. But I must admit, kudos to them, because not only is their packaging very nice, the way they do it, the decals are tech mod, so usually pretty good with tech mod decals, use them a lot. The photo etch is very, very nice as well. So really, there's nothing not to like about them so far. As I say, they've gone together really, really well. So yeah.
I was going to say, if you get like the expert sets, you've got the mass set in there, so you've got everything in one box. It's not like you've got to go off to Edard to buy a zoom set or a mass set or anything else. It's all in that package. So
and
like to go,
on here, if I just grab a camera a minute, you can see down in here what they've done. This isn't the actual full one. This is just the normal instructions, but they give you this. So this is a template in scale.
To cut your own?
To cut your own. So if you wanted to, you could just put your masking tape over the top of this and then trace it, or just cut around and cut it out, and away you go.
That is fun.
So, it's something as simple as this, but even you've got the ones here for the lights. So it's got the slight curve for the lights, but you've actually, obviously, canopy, front and rear. Different types of canopy as well, because there are slight differences between the two. Not that you look at it with the naked eye. But again, tiny little ones. But if you wanted to, you could easily just, put it down, tape over the top, draw it, cut it, and away you go. Again, nice little touch. So it's as simple as that, but they've thought of it. And that's the nice thing with it, because, at the end of the day, a lot of these companies will quite happily, let's face it, take your money and all the rest of it, but at least you've got your options there to do it,
you know what? I actually think that's a brilliant idea, to be honest.
Yeah. I've seen it with other manufacturers do it occasionally, and they're, very much they'll give you the templates for doing various parts on it. Tamiya do it occasionally and stuff like that. But again, 72nd little kits like these, I'll tell you what, we'll put them in there, because I'll use that. I'll literally just put tape over the top and then I'll just cut it and away you go. So, again, a very nice, very well thought out way of doing it. Why don't all kits do that? That's one of those ones now that I would be, why doesn't every manufacturer, if they don't give the mask set, just put it down there, a template, so you could just cut your own and do it and go away you go. Again, it's one of those ones that's so simple, but no one does it.
It is, but it's one of them where I think that all aircraft kits should come with a mask set.
Well, yeah, obviously, unless you of course.
My views on it.
Yes, no, but after doing the B-17, I totally agree with you. I would, absolutely. That's how it should be as well. So.
Yeah, definitely.
Anyway, one of the things we was going to talk about today, wasn't it, was classic kits.
Yes.
And the classics that Tamiya have had throughout the ages.
Yeah, well, I thought, because obviously we're having a bit of a slower show, as in new releases. We'll go back in time to some classics, and mainly the Tamiya off the Tamiya range, which we've got on the shelves that we think are still worthy to buy.
Yes.
are still worthy to build.
Yeah.
So so I've got a little selection at the side of me, and we'll pull them out, and we'll have a quick discussion of if you've built one, if I've built one, or for whatever, and why they're still relevant when it's obviously probably been superseded. So we'll start with an all-time classic, which I've built and you have.
Yes.
The P51.
Which is, I have to say that if you go back through history, I've often called that as being a fantastic starter kit for any modeller who's coming into the hobby.
Yep.
Two reasons. One is it's not overcomplicated to go together. The engineering is very much Tamiya, and it goes together really, really well, let's face it. But also the price, even back in the day. So if you're looking at like the early 2000s, that's simply, if we to go from there onwards, so say around about the 2000, you used to be able to pick that kit up for 15 quid.
I think so, and it's not much more now. I think it's about 18 quid. 20 quid is
20 quid.
full retail on it still. So they've stuck with the pricing, and it's worth 20 quid.
Absolutely.
It's worth 20
Easily.
English pounds easily for that build, because that is a stress-free, really nicely engineered, will go together. You know, it's one of them mojo builds, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
Because they'll probably tell you on tomorrow's show, I think we've all been struggling with our mojo for the past couple of weeks for one reason or another.
Yeah.
And I think when you get to that point, it is one of them, just put whatever you're doing aside and just probably build a Tamiya kit, if I'm honest. Pull one out the stash, everybody's got them, and it just goes together. I know Andy's building, which he'll probably tell you about. To be fair, it's not Tamiya, but he's building the P40, the Afix P40, and he says it's not like one of their kits. I'm sure he'll tell you about it tomorrow, so I'll let him sort of obviously tell you. But and I think it's probably on par with one of these, to be honest. Like I say, I've built it, and it's just a fab kit. So for how old it is as well.
Absolutely. I would, if you've never built one, even though, we often talk about the Edard's beautiful one and all the rest of it, but that's just one of those kits that literally falls together. It's a beautiful, beautiful kit. Very, very nicely done. Classic. Yes.
So next one is the Corsair.
Absolutely. Again, it's one of those ones where, I don't know exactly when that was released, but it's as good now as anything that's out there. That's
I'd say so. There's a couple of different flavours of it as well, isn't there? There's a marine one, and I think there's about the one with the tug.
Yeah,
as
you
well.
Get the one with the tug and all the rest of it.
And again, I think Hobby Boss have bought a load out, but I don't think they compared to this one.
No.
I still think this one's probably the best one in scale.
Also, obviously with that one being naval, it's got the wing fold with it as well, so you can fold it up. You can have one wing up, one wing down type of thing as well to display it. Again, it's got all the detail on the inside. Okay, it doesn't have fully detailed engine, but you don't need it. But again, it's one of those, and you get the figure. Don't forget the figure. Yeah.
So something else that's a rarity nowadays, isn't it?
A beautiful kit. Yeah.
So again, I'll pull both of these out because they're kind of the same aircraft, but I know these kind of been superseded. But again, I've built this for the Luftwaffe SIG, and I think we've got one of them as well.
Yeah.
Again, the 190s classic aircraft, different versions, and again, this one was fantastic to get together. Just so straightforward, because I built the old TriStar one, which ain't great. It was okay, and I think obviously Edard do one, which is a lot more complicated. But again, these are all sort of under £20 kits, so nice easy builds.
Straightforward. That's the thing about them. Very, very straightforward.
Yeah, and then like I say with the other 190 as well. Now this one, I know Phil's built a version of this.
Yep. I've done all the versions of that. I've done the photo reconnaissance. We've done the fighter bomber there and the bomber as well. Yeah. So again, I tell you, the funny thing is with that actual kit, I've built quite a few of those, you were saying, especially back in the commission days with it. It's one of those kits that never gets old. The way that one goes together with the way that you build basically the bomb bay system to it and the cockpit, and that gives you your strength right the way through it and all the rest of it. The gear goes together fantastically well with it, and generally it's one of those straightforward builds. We often talk about Tamiya, don't we, as being that AAA. I think honestly these kits which when they were released were so nice to go together. I think that's really where Tamiya got its name for being the quality and everything, because as you're making your way through all of these kits at the moment, time after time after time, when those kits were released, we looked at it and went, wow. Because obviously, if you look at its other versions, Airfix's is awful. Revel's is terrible.
Yeah.
And then you've got Tamiya, which is wonderful. And it's like, you know, there's just no competition anywhere around it. And again, putting that up against anything today, beautiful. And the funny thing is, when they went upscale, and obviously we did the 30-second one, it was so nice when I built it because it goes together very similar to how that goes together as well. You know, it's that highly detailed version of that kit in 30-second, which is absolutely fantastic. But again, if you look at it, there's probably 20 years between the 30-second one and the 48th. You know, and it shows how light years ahead that kit was.
Yeah, I think that's what you're talking. They still stand up today, even though, like you say, they're 20-year-old or whatever. And I mean, the kits I've got down here are all under I think they're all under actually the £25 mark.
Yeah.
So it's not under the £30, it's under the £25 mark. And to be honest, some of them are less than that.
Yeah.
So again, that's why they've been picked, because they still sort of stand up price-wise as well. They've not gone silly money.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Where the price has gone up over time. So they're still worth considering, because I know everybody's like, as soon as a new kit comes out, I've got to have this new kit. And I think sometimes some of these classics,
absolutely, the classics still stand up.
Get forgotten and think, you know, what we got here? Here's another one.
Absolutely. Obviously, two flavours. You've got the Air Force version and the Navy.
Yeah.
There's plenty of aftermarket if you want to go down that route as well with that kit to fold the wings and, you know, all the stuff, as is with most of these kits as well. But again, that kit is such an iconic one that, like, but nobody else does it. Who else does a 48 scale Sky Raider?
Nobody.
That's it. But it's such an iconic aircraft. But again, I think a lot of manufacturers were put off by that kit because Tamiya did such a good job on it.
Yeah.
That, you know, a lot of manufacturers for a long time thought, you know what, we'll keep away. You know, we won't go down that route.
I think you're right. I think there's a really old Esky version.
Yeah.
They did a Sky Raider, but that's nothing. It's not going to stand up against this one.
No.
You know, just.
And again, it is such a straightforward, beautiful aircraft that goes together really, really well. And again, for the price point, brilliant.
Yeah, I think this is 22.
Absolutely, yeah, it's 25 quid.
The other one's about 26. I think the Air Force one, it's a bit more money, but again. So last of the aircraft, another Luftwaffe classic.
Very much classic. And it's funny now because obviously, you know, they have been superseded and there's everything, but you've got the classic one there.
Yeah, this is it. I mean, the Airfix one's very good, and obviously Edard do a version. But I think, talking from like one of the members of the Luftwaffe SIG, obviously sometimes you just want to build something for the table. You're not building it for a show, you know, put into a competition or anything. It's for display with everything else. And these kits are ideal because you could chuck them together in a weekend.
Yes, yeah,
and I think, again, that's something you kind of forget, you know, if you're doing an Edard kit or even the Airfix one. They're a bit more complicated. Yes. Where if you want to, like, a stress-free, you've got a few hours on an evening, you can chuck one of these things together very, very quickly. Yeah. With no filler really needed, no stress. So.
And I think that's the big thing to talk about as well, is that, you know, I know we've said about it, but these are stress-free Mojo type kits because, again, even though the quality is there and the details there, the ease of construction. It's not like more modern versions of those kits now. So obviously we've got the Edards out there and the things like that. But they're a lot more refined, a lot more detailed in certain areas, but a lot more fiddly to get together. Those ones are still very much classic ways that they go together and they come in. So you've got all that great detail already pre-done in parts. So it's not like a million parts making up the cockpit, for instance. It's a straightforward job onto it because it's all there, it's all moulded. And again, you know, when you think of the age of it, how light years ahead Tamiya were, you know, doing those kits. And when you look at the price as well, a lot of people are put off by Tamiya because of their price of their bigger kits, which are incredibly expensive these days, but they've never put up the price of the 48s. That was it. They've slid up a little bit, but not jumped like some of the 30-second ones have.
I think, to be honest, the prices that have gone up are the newer mould stuff.
Yeah.
It's not the older stuff. They've just kept that as
So it's
is.
not like they've done, and I will say it because I'm honest, but Hasegawa have a horrendous track record. And to be honest with you, I was looking at one of our suppliers for us stocking some of the classic Hasegawa kits, shall we say. But honestly, when you look at it, and I've got a few there, those Hornets, they've just re-released the 2-seat Hornet at 75 quid. I used to pay $24.99 for them from my local shop. But it's the same kit, it's the same box, it's the same decals, everything's exactly the same, but it's 50 quid more. How? Why? Tamiya haven't, and that's the nice thing about it. It's absolutely crazy.
It's one of life mysteries.
It's definitely one of those ones.
Do you know what though? Going back, I think it's a shame because they are good kits. Like you say, the Sabre, the Crusader, a lot of the ones basically that Edar's reboxed over time and put into their special packaging and the bits and bobs. But they are relative, standalone on their own, they're good kits. But because they are so expensive, it's kind of off-putting for people where we're on about, this sort of section's really for people coming back into the hobby.
Yeah.
So they don't want to go out and spend 60 quid.
No.
Or 40 quid or whatever. If you're just starting, you want like a nice, just to get the feel of building a model kit again, I suppose. If you're new, coming back to it. And these kits that we're showing today are just ideal ones. Just to hone your skills again, get the feel for it, and you're not blowing a lot of money on something that you're going to be out of your depth with, or you think you're going to be out of your depth with.
Yeah.
Just a nice starting point. And also as well, I think you find if you finish your kit, you're more thinking to build another one and finish it, rather than I've started it, I'm a bit out of my depth, I'll put it on the shelf for doom, I'll start something else. I think it's a good way of actually finishing something, putting something on the shelf, go, oh well, I'm proud of that, but I think I can do better. Whatever, confidence building.
Absolutely.
So they're definite. So the next up, we're going to Tamiya Armour, and these are some classics. We are going back. We are way back in time, especially with the first one. But again, all right, the classic Panamag. This has got to be from the 70s now. So this has been superseded by numerous manufacturers have done, and then you're thinking, well, why are you pulling this out when there are better versions? Because this is about 9 quid.
And there you go. That's it. At the end of the day, when you're talking sub 10 quid, and it's not crap. It's a good kit. That's it. Yes, there is better versions of it out there. Yes, there's more modern versions out there.
Yes.
But when you put in price against other people's, and then you go, right, that's just work it then. You've got this one up here, this one down in here, and where the price is, I don't think you can beat it. It's, it's fantastic kit. It's very, very Tamiya. It is. It's classic Tamiya.
It's clunky in places. There's obviously, like you say, there's other, I think AFE Club do some, Dragon do some, ICM now do an half track and stuff, but they are like, the cheapest one that I've just mentioned is the ICM one, and I think that's 20 odd quid. And then obviously if you're going up to, like I say, the Dragon one when you can get it, I bet that's 60 quid now, easy. And I think the other one's touching 50 quid from AFE Club. So, again, this will just fall together on an evening. It's one of them. It's like when we do the turkey shoots. These things are what I pull out because I know I can complete them in the time scale that we've got to do them in. So, the tracks now are, they're not great, I'll be honest. I think that's the worst part that lets these down is the old rubber band tracks. But, again...
But again, the thing is, rubber band tracks, everyone takes the mick, but they are a 5-minute job to put together. Versus a couple of evenings if it's anybody else's,
Yeah, that's it. So again, I can recommend this. I think that's a fab kit, to be honest. And also, and this is one of got to be my all-time favourites. I know this is a different boxing of it. And why this actual vehicle has never been redone by anybody else is still beyond me. Because this sells bucket loads for Tamiya, and, of all the kits that are coming out lately and stuff like that, why this one's not been redone? I don't know if it's because it's a Chevrolet and it's licensing.
Maybe it's licensing,
I have no idea, but to be honest with you, the aftermarket you can get for this anyway is you can upgrade it to your heart's content. So, it's one of them that's definitely on my read-to-do list.
Definitely,
I remember building this a long time ago, but again, with the figures, they're master box figures. You get a nice set of figures in it this time.
Very nice.
So, love that kit. And as there's a lot of these being released of late.
There is, yeah, literally like buses, Panzer IV.
Everybody's having a go at it. Again, this is one of their first kits, I think.
Yeah.
The number on it, 96350. I don't know how that coincides with their releases, but probably somewhere. But again, it's all there. It does Classics. What it says on the tin.
Yeah.
So if you want an early Panzer IV, you can't.
And again, the great thing is they all come with figures.
Yeah.
Got your crew.
Yeah. You'll have the free crew hanging out of it somewhere.
Yeah.
Again, thankfully now the Tamiya crew figures from probably when this was made to now are actually really good. They do some fantastic figures. So yeah. And here's what I've built recently, and this is a classic. I love this. And here we go. Bought mine out. Look.
Yeah.
Just to show you, and this is actually straight out of the box. The only thing I've actually done is drilled the barrels out.
Yeah.
So I did some mud, and that is the rubber band tracks as well, so they don't look too bad done.
I was going to say, you'd never know it.
No, so like I say, it's one thing that Tamiya used to do, and they don't do anymore, is make this front steering posable. Used to do it on like a ratchet system.
That was it, yeah.
I don't know why they stopped doing it, because now everything's kind of fixed, and it can look a bit, I don't know, what's the word? Sort of wooden, I suppose.
Yeah,
I don't know. It don't give much life, does it?
No,
you just take the wheels a little bit. It just gives
it's
it
like
a bit
I always say, with aircraft on the ground, if you get the ailerons and you make a little bit of movement, it just makes it look a little bit more relaxed, shall we say? If you've got the steering slightly off as well, it just shows it a little bit nicer.
Yeah. But this, again, I think this is 20 quid.
Yeah. So it's a lot of plastic for your money as well. You know?
Yes. Because, I mean, I definitely know, the other two, you can Dragon do one, which is, if you can get it, is very expensive. I think you're looking 70 quid. And Trumpeter do one.
Yeah.
And I think there again you're looking 40 quid at least for theirs. So, and this builds up fine. I can, having done it and it's sat here, I can definitely say. And there's another.
The classic 88.
The 88.
The thing is, if I think of an 88, I always think of Tamiya's anyway. Yes. I know everybody else has done them now as well, but that's the classic with the figures, with the rangefinder guy and all the bits that go with it. And obviously, you don't just get the gun if you don't know, you get all the transport equipment with it as well. So everything you see in there, you get.
You get the bike.
You get the bike, you get the lot. But, again, you think of World War II, obviously you've got your various things. The 88 is always in there as well. The things of World War II, if somebody said, list them, I'd have an 88 in the top 10 items from World War II because it's such an iconic gun system and all the rest of it. Yeah. And again, obviously, you can have it as air-to-air artillery, or as they're doing it clearly on the flat.
Yeah.
And everything goes in. But the amount of kits we've seen on Flory models through the group builds and everything, and 88 always comes up somewhere. We'll do one, a nice little diorama or a diorette with it and stuff like that. It is just a solid go-to kit, Yeah. And again, once it's, nicely built and painted and weathered, I don't think, you'd be hard pushed probably to tell it from either the FE Club one or the Dragon one. Yeah, absolutely.
I know obviously they're probably more refined, but I can see them being a lot more complicated.
I was going to say, I think the biggest difference is if you want to build that one, it's a nice enjoyable time. If you're going to be doing the Dragon one, that's a handful because it's very finicky, shall we say. Lots of little bits.
Hey, and it's Dragon instructions.
Yeah, well, if you can make head or tail, you might as well just rip them up and go from your imagination.
And then last one.
Classic.
The Churchill.
Yeah.
And again, there's only the FE Club one that this is up against because nobody else has really released a Churchill. Again, what can you say about it? I know they did the other version, the flamethrower version.
Yeah,
didn't
the crocodile.
The crocodile, that was the one. But this is just the normal. What is it? A Mark 7.
Yeah.
So again, get the figures and the farmer, is it?
Yeah, you're giving them the bottle of wine.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. So again, a lot cheaper than you think. I think this is only like 22.
I know.
£22.
Yeah.
So
the big thing from all of this really is, don't think Tamiya expensive. You've got classic Tamiya now compared to a lot of their new stuff, admittedly, is a lot more refined and it's everything else. But their kits from back in the day like that are still really, really nice. And I have to say, this is it, Matt will back me up here, this isn't just a ploy, but I am planning on collecting the entire classic range. I've still got it in my head, and I've spoken about this a lot, to say that I'm going to buy, personally for me, the entire range. Because, everyone needs a hobby. So I intend to do all the manufacturers, especially we deal with professionally and obviously from a modelling point of view, is that Tamiya will always be that company. And what I'd like to do is have a collection. I've got quite a few here as it is, but to complete the collection and go from classic Tamiya of all of those kits, to be honest, I'm not really worried about the modern ones. Because, but I've got very fond memories of the older stuff, especially the classic ones. And not be funny, it's not going to break the bank to do it either. Where if you want to start collecting, I don't know, Eddard, you're going to be, if you want those classics that are now retired, you're going to cost a fortune to try and get hold of those and all the rest of it. At least all of this stuff is readily available as well. It's not been discontinued or pulled or anything else. All right, they do some specials, but you can get all of the Tamiya ones, all the classic ones are readily available. It's not like something where we're talking about a kit that if you can find it, like a lot of Dragons, let's say, and stuff like that. At least Tamiya is always readily available, which is really nice.
Yeah. Like again, mainly this little segment was for, like I say, for price point as well, because we just want to prove you don't have to spend a lot of money to get a nice kit. Really.
Yeah, you don't have to spend a fortune, that's the thing.
Yeah. So, like I said, just something we thought we'd do for today.
Something for you to think about, and comment down below if you want to comment and all the rest of it. We're like, how do you feel about them? But, again, when you're talking the price, I think that's what a lot of people have to remember. I know there's a lot of people out there who say, oh, that kit's rubbish, there's a far better one.
Yes.
But when you look at the price of it, that's also what to take into consideration. You've got bang for your buck, type of thing. And yes, okay, if you want to spend, say, top whack 80 quid on kits and things like that, there's beautiful kits out there, fully refined, fully detailed. But the thing you have to do in this sliding scale that takes you on the price, but is the technicalities that are going into it. If you're a newer modeler, you're not going to want to do fully detailed engines and like complicated track systems and all the rest of it, that most of it you're never going to see anyway, and you've got this type of scenario to it. So bang for your buck on a visible type of thing as well. I think they are very, very hard to beat. So don't think Tamiya, think expensive, because classic Tamiya, very, very reasonably priced. And again, as I say, the entire aircraft fleet, I think they're all under 25 quid, aren't they? So,
the older stuff, definitely.
The older stuff, absolutely. I think and that's the nice thing to it.
I'm trying to think really when it probably started to creep up a little bit. Things like Swordfish.
Yeah.
When that started to come out, and then stuff after. Yeah. It kind of the prices kept creeping up a little bit, but again, stuff from the 90s, early 2000s, I think, are all, like I say, they're all pretty much been the same price forever.
That's it. It doesn't seem to have changed. And as I say, when you put that into account with other companies like Hasegawa. Like a lot of the time with Hasegawa, you look at Hasegawa and they've got some great kits. Don't get me wrong, they've got some beautiful kits in the range. But a lot of the times I look at them and I think, I remember buying this kit and it was 25 quid and now it's 75. Why? It's even got the same box art and decals on it. It's not like it's had a new revamp or anything. A lot of their kits, as we know, Hasegawa are very well known for new decals, shall we say. Same kit, different decals, extra 20 quid, and change the box art around and stuff like that. But I've noticed a lot of their classics from 2000 now and like the late 90s, they're releasing those kits in that box art as well, and they're still 50 quid more. Back, so over the last few weeks I've been looking at their releases thinking, built that, done that, had that, sold that. But the big thing is that why is it so expensive? How have they suddenly jumped the price 50 quid? 30 quid, 50 quid on some of them, and for what exactly are you getting different? So
the only way I can look at it is obviously whoever is the UK sort of distributor. Obviously, we know how Hobbyco worked, how many containers they get in. Yeah. Because it's obviously a massive Tamiya range, as in paints, RC. So obviously Pete, who runs a hobby company, it is containerfuls, and I'm thinking with a price point for Hasegawa, it must be how much, because they are really known for kits, aren't they?
Yeah, well, it is literally just the kits, isn't it?
There is a few tools that they do, but they don't do paints, they don't do really RC. It's very home market stuff, so a lot of their range wouldn't work over here if they did bring it in, I think. So you're kind of limited to what you can get, I suppose, that you're going to sell or distribute that's going to. So I don't know. There must be a reason behind the prices. I'd like to know why, because obviously we know like Nathan's been to Japan, and he says, well, as you know, Asagawa kits over there are as cheap as you know, an Airfix kit here, shall we say, in comparison. So something's obviously translating from it leaving Japan to come into the UK.
Yeah.
So whether that's import duties or taxes or whatever else, inflation, I don't know, yen to pound, no idea. But it'd be nice to know, wouldn't it? It'd be nice to, if anybody knows the insight to it, please let us know.
Yeah, comment down below.
Comment down below. So
cool.
But yes. So
there you go. Hopefully you find that a little bit interesting. We did at this point.
And if we get stuck like this again for stuff, we'll be doing our favourite kits in our stash.
Yes, that's it. Yeah, welcome to our stash.
I'll have to pull them down and why we still keep them.
Why have I still got this crap in the stash?
So, I think that's it, mate. To be honest.
It is. So don't forget, you can see this will be up with you right now. That's up for you to see now. And then tomorrow I will have the Chieftain up for you. I haven't really got time to get it done today, but I will get that one done for you tomorrow. So that'll be up with you tomorrow as well. So we've got the review of that coming up. And then I've got the review of the Lysander as well, which hopefully I'll get up for you on Friday. So there's lots of these. Don't forget, they're all readily available at the PM store. We've all got them in at the moment. So if you want to grab yourself one of those, obviously I'll link them in there down below, all the usual places for this one as well. So if you want to go over, have a look, tools, sundries, all the bits and pieces available from the PM Models UK store. You can just pop along, have a look around, have a peruse and buy. Just like to simply say as well is that we're still in COVID conditions, I'd just like to point out. So obviously shipping times can be delayed. I'll be honest with you, I've got a very large order as well going out to a said supplier and stockist of mine with the Flory Models gear, and that's caught in customs at the moment. So obviously if there is a delay getting shipments out from PM Models or even Flory Models as well, that's what it is. So don't think the world's gone back to normal yet. Obviously things have picked up quite nicely. Things go into Canada, US, normally taking around about 2 weeks at the moment, but occasionally they do take a little bit longer. So just be mindful of that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. There we go. Right. Thank you very much for that, mate. We will see you all again tomorrow night. If you want to join us, we'll be on with you on the Flory Model site live. If not, we'll catch you next Wednesday as usual with all the PM Models gossip and news. So till later, everybody. Happy modelling. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.